Yes, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this program this wonderful afternoon. Of course, my name is Emen Kiribu, and this is a program we call Time Out with Dr. Alex Otti. It's a political interaction program where we look at various issues. Remember, the political seasons is already here. Campaigns, both, excuse me, at the federal and the state level are already on top gear, and we will create opportunity for so many political groups and aspirants to have an opportunity to state their views and what they want to achieve to the people of Abia State, to the people of Nigeria. That is why we are here as a media house. This is All Facts Newspaper, and this program is called Time Out with Dr. Alex Otti, the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate for Abia State. I have with me in the studio this morning or this afternoon the spokesperson of the campaign council of Dr. Alex Otti, the person of Mazi Ferdinand Ekeoma. Mr. Ferdinand,
thank you once again.
You're welcome. How are you doing?
Pleasure. I'm doing fine.
We thank you for coming on board this hour and for this program which you people are sponsoring on our platform. We deeply appreciate you guys' contributions. Okay, let's move forward into the discussions. The campaign had formally commenced for the gubernatorial election, for the House of Assembly elections. How has it been for your team and your campaign organization?
Okay, officially, we are just taking off. Officially. And of course, prior to now, nobody was expected to carry out formal campaigns, But then, we were also doing the necessary things we needed to do. Beyond official campaigns, you do behind the scenes consultations, reach outs, form alliances where necessary, interact with people, individuals, unions, religious leaders, and all the rest of them. Now that the campaigns have finally kicked off, this moment now gives us the opportunity to officially speak to our people, to officially talk to them, to officially campaign and say, this is what we are bringing to the table. This is what we want to do. This is how we are going to do them. This is, who we are. So, for me, and for us in the Alex Otti Campaign Council, it's going to be an interesting period, a very busy period. But we are doing everything humanly possible to ensure that we get it right for the good of Abia.
Yes, just like we told you, this is a special political interactive program called Time Out with Dr. Alex Otti, the Labour Party governorship candidate for Abia State. And with me in the studio is the campaign spokesperson of the Alex Otti campaign council, the person of Ferdinand Ekeoma. And of course, we are looking at issues. We'll be looking at issues as regards the 2023 elections and other rising discussions that are necessary that they comment on. Of course, 2023 election seems to be a very special one because you see a lot of youths, a lot of more people getting involved in this election, and they've been asking for issue-based campaign. They want to know what exactly are the plans, what exactly are the plans of the candidates, what do they intend to offer, how do they intend to offer those things. Those are the issues. We are used to political parties and spokesperson giving us a lot of promises, and they cannot break it down into piecemeal for us to be able to understand how is it. So, will your campaign this time around, will it be issue-based, devoid of what we call in this environment Ikotono?
Well, we are actually not known for the politics of Ikotono. We are not known for that. We've never been known for that. And if anything, we are going to improve on our record of constructive engagements, of issue-based campaign this time around. We are going to improve. And that is how it should be. Anybody who has followed our style, our trajectory, and wants to be honest will agree with me that if there were a few occasions we have had reasons to be hard on the government, to respond to the abuses on propaganda and verbal attacks, defamatory statements, if you have had a reason to attack or come in the same direction, you will see that it was usually a rejoinder, a response to unfounded and baseless attacks and allegations. So we are not changing. We are not going to embrace the same Ekotono. We will stick to issue-based campaign. Even though we know that the government doesn't find it funny when we reel out facts and figures, because we believe in facts. If we want to criticize the government, we try to dwell on facts. We try to lay our facts on the table so that we'll be able to drive our points home, so that we'll be able to convince our people. So sometimes when we resort to these facts, you know how the government reacts. The government will resort to vilification attack because for them that is the only strategy they believe they could use to cow us, they could use to subdue us and shut us up. But that has never worked, and it will never work. So in as much as we are going to adhere strictly to our own strategy of constructive or pattern of constructive engagements, we will also not shy away from bringing those facts that Abians will need to know. Because if you say this government hasn't done well, somebody will ask you how. You will need to prove that the government hasn't done well. You will need to lay the facts and figures, statistics on the table and tell us how you, when you have the opportunity, will be able to do it better. So we are going to engage them constructively. We are going to campaign. We are going to identify those challenges confronting our people and tackle them. Of course, Alex Otti is already doing that. Dr. Alex Otti is already doing that. He is highlighting the challenges confronting Abia, and we know these challenges. They are enormous. They are humongous. And
yes, at least we've been able to extract from you that we'll be expecting a constructive campaign based on issues, and those issues will be broken down to milestones and achievable, of course, figures, so that we'll know exactly what we are expecting. And again, for us to be able to get to the point of discussing issues, we'll look at manifesto. Is your campaign, is Dr. Alex Otti's manifesto for this particular election and for Abia State, is he ready?
Very ready.
Or is he under construction?
Has since been tidied up. Very ready. Rich, as you would expect. Rich as usual. But it will be unveiled in a matter of days, the next few days. It was actually supposed to be unveiled last week before we changed due to developments. So the manifesto is very ready.
So can you give us an insight on some key points in the manifesto?
Well, you know the issues: education, health, infrastructure, job creation, name it. Those are the things that we are going to be discussing. But like I said, I wouldn't want to jump the gun. This with it is a matter of days. But I can take it to the bank that what is in the manifesto is a reflection of what Alex Otti has said and written, both in the past and in the recent past. So, and of course, because the things he says are a reflection of who he is, are a reflection of his philosophy in governance, are a reflection of what he had done in the past in the private sector, are a reflection of the true things you need to do to take Abia out of the doldrums of misgovernance. So we are going to highlight them one by one, bullet by bullet. The bullet points, we are going to highlight them there and tell you how Alex Otti is going to do it. But the truth is this: Alex Otti is prepared for this job. He is not an accidental aspirant and an accidental candidate. He is none of them. He took the decision. We have always said this, and we will continue to say it, that it takes a man of character and courage to do what he did. And this is easy for any honest person to understand. It's very easy for any discerning mind, for anybody who really understands the environment we are, who understood where Alex Otti was, who understood the enormity of the position he occupied. We are proud and also a humility to say this, that it takes a man who had assessed himself, who had looked at himself, who had this self-conviction, who understood the direction where he was going, for you to leave the position of a bank CEO. Bros, it's a once in a century decision. It's not rare, it's not common, it's very rare. And that person took that decision. Say, I am taking it because I want to come and rescue her. But not just that you left when you had over 6 years to still serve. So if the man was looking for money, was looking for publicity and popularity and comfort and luxury, he definitely would not have taken that decision. So this was a decision anchored on altruism, pro-people altruism, pro-Abia altruism. So we are proud of what he did, and he has not disappointed. Why do I say so? You left this place in 2014. You resigned, voluntarily retired in 2014. You contested an election in 2015. Of course, the election we knew, everybody knew you overwhelmingly won, but that's a story for another day. You contested in 2015, you contested in 2019, and here you are here again. You have not retreated. You are holding Abia State down. You stood firm, continued to speak for the people, continued to ask critical questions that border on governance, continued to advise on the right things to be done to get it right in Abia, continued to hold brief for the people, continued to intervene whenever there were issues affecting the citizens. That's the hallmark of a statesman. That's the hallmark of a visionary leader. That's the hallmark of a patriot. So we are proud that Alex Otti's trajectory has clearly defeated the propaganda of those who think they can paint him black. Because you say he's desperate. He said, yes, and we will tell you, proudly tell you that he's desperate to redeem Abia. If he was desperate for selfish reasons, you know what he would have done? Offers came after the 2015 election. Massive offers to compromise the man, to abandon even going to court, and even when he finished in court, there were offers from the same people who stole his mandate. He called their bluff. We had seen these things happen in this state. He called their bluff and stood firm. What does he have? You know what he would have lost? He would have lost his name. He would have lost his reputation. He would have lost his integrity. But like Chugo Kadibo would say when he was alive, that he gives dignity for one to stand in what he believes in. Alex Otti is standing firm in what he believes in. Okay. He knows that it will be in the interest of Abians for him to prove to them that indeed he genuinely came to fight for this. So those people who are carrying out propaganda, he's running again. If he wins now, he would want to recover what he has spent. Who told you that he belongs to that category? Because what propels this, we know is a well, because that is actually what they are dishing out now. That's why I want to talk about it. That's the newest propaganda. That he contested in 2015, contested in 2019. That if he wins now, what he wants to do is to recover his money. The question is, if the man was not ready, if he was not blessed by his God, would he even be able to contest the second one, let alone this one? Has he come to them to say, give me money? Is he being sponsored by them? Is he being planted for them by them? So they find it difficult to understand. Because anybody who knows what it means to run for governorship, very soon some people will realize what it means to run for governor in Abia. You understand? So anybody who knows the enormity of the task, what is required to contest for governor in this climb, where a government is not doing well, a government is ready to do anything to frustrate you, to somebody has been able to challenge the status quo, to challenge the establishment. Well, let's go. But I can tell you that
you made a statement. You know, as a spokesperson, sometimes you make some very strong statements that we as journalists will want to clarify. You said your principal is prepared, as though there are some candidates who are not prepared. Can we have an insight into some of those candidates in Abia who you feel are not prepared for this particular election?
Well, like we just, I briefly said a few minutes ago, of course, you asked as well, that the campaign is going to be issue-based.
Yes.
We will not attempt to discredit other candidates. But we know that our candidate is the best. There is no comparison.
And you know that there's some candidates who are not prepared.
You understand? We know that there are people who are accidental
Candidates.
Yes, who are here to run just because they want to be seen. We know there are people who, after the election, they will run away. We wouldn't hear from them again, maybe until 2027. That is the truth. So we want people to know that what we are doing here is not a joke.
Okay, there are also this, of course, you try to make a statement on that, but there are people who also say that Dr. Alex Otti's time has passed, that his time has passed. And there was even an opinion piece on that particular statement from your team, and coming from your team. Do they have a fact to say that Otti's time has passed?
When you don't have anything to say, you resort to propaganda, but they are cheap propaganda. Abians are intelligent, Abians are wise, Abians are smarter, they are discerning. They know that this is a well-orchestrated propaganda. The question is, passed in what sense? His time has passed in what sense? That he is 80 years or what? That is he frail? He's fit and agile, intelligent, exposed, still playing critical and active roles in key institutions, in key committees. We were here last year. Was it last year? Early this year, when Soludo inaugurated his economic team, and you saw the role he played. So these are people who know his worth. These are people who know his record. These are people who know his capacity. So if the cream de la cream of Nigeria, when key issues come up, he is invited to come and speak. In many fora, he has spoken. And wherever he goes, he makes sense. So they cherish him. And descending minds here, Abians here, cherish him. They know that this is actually his time. The time is ripe. That what was started in 2014 is going to be climaxed, going to be accomplished in this 2023 we are entering. So Alex Otti's time is now. And it will be in the interest of our people that their best preside over the affairs of Abia. Because we are talking about somebody who has shown undoubted consistency in his engagements. A man who has proven that when he says think Abia first, that indeed he thinks Abia first. How does he think Abia first? He has engaged in activities that have enabled at least the opening of our political space, that have activities that have enabled our people to realize that indeed this is our state. We have a right to know how things are going here. As a corporate man, he had engaged in activities that enable the economic prosperity of many Abians. We are talking facts. That is the truth. And that's why in a sister program I left, I made it clear that if very soon we might begin to call names to prove that Alex Otti had helped Abia State and helped a lot of people. We were in your place a few days ago. I don't know if you listened to what our brother Amobioga said. He said it. He was talking from experience. He said that Alex Otti as an MD CEO of Mobile helped many Igbo, he made a lot of billionaires, Igbo businessmen and women. And this is a fact. Most of them know this. Those who do businesses know this. But you don't expect the man to, I made this one. I mean, that one is for chartered politicians. He's not a chartered politician. He's a corporate man, and he knows he doesn't need to start blowing his trumpet of what he had done. And so, as time goes on, those who didn't know will know. A lot of people are being converted. A lot of people who fought him in 2015, 2019, they are coming, and it's a good development. We are impressing them, and we are out to impress everybody. This is our state. Because to free the state and restore the state to Abians, everybody, all hands must be on deck. Everybody needs to be involved, and we are ready to carry everyone. We are not bearing grudges against anybody. It's our state. It's normal for you to not to have believed in Alex Otti in the past. It's understandable. It's normal for you to have fallen prey to propaganda. It's normal for you to have misread him, misunderstood him, made false assumptions about him. But when you realize that this will, so that is why we keep striving to educate our people, to tell them, this is who you have. Alex Otti is one of your best. It's your best.
Okay.
As far as this election is concerned, he is the best.
Thank you very much. We're still on the program Time Out with Dr. Alex Otti Of course, Dr. Alex Otti is the gubernatorial candidate of Labour Party in Abia State, and in the studio with me is the spokesperson of the campaign council, the person of Mazi Ferdinand Ekeoma. He's in the studio. We have discussed at length on so many issues, and we are still on the discussion part. We will not stop. And remember, this program is serialized. It will be coming up every Tuesday of the week. We'll look at different issues as regard the campaign and other plans and moves, objectives of the organization and Dr. Alex Otti himself. This platform, All Facts Television, is provided for every campaign organization to be able to air their opinions and also state their plans and objectives for Ndabi and Nigerians as a whole. Yes, we're still on the show, Ferdinand. Your principal over the weekend or last week was almost everywhere. He was with the Anambra community, had a meeting with them. He was with the Aronduziogo community too, had a meeting with them. And the reports we are getting there sounds as though there were some forms of endorsements and support coming from those angles. Can you give Abians an insight into exactly what happened during those events?
Okay, Dr. Alex Otti was hosted by the aforementioned unions, communities in Aba. You know, they wanted to listen to him. They've already known him. They know him. But they, once again, this is an election period. So they wanted to listen to him, wanted to ask him some questions. You know. And first we met with, okay, let me start with that of Anambra community. We met them after we met with the Arondis of people. The Anambra own, because of the same situation we are crying about, we went to your place. We went to Isukwato. You know, went for a church service there, interior part of Isukwato, and the roads were just horrible. So to get out of that place to meet up with the Aba event, it was just terrible. You know, you can see the Hafia Road now. You can see how terrible everywhere is now. Then now to get to Isukwato, you know how terrible the road is now. So we went to very interior part of Isukwato. So before we could get to Aba for the Anambra, it was a bit late. And because of the love and respect they have for Alex Otti, they waited, all of them from A to Z. So what we discussed, they were so excited, and Alex Otti spoke briefly, but it was rescheduled, you know, because they said that they have so much respect for Alex Otti that you know, somebody they will want to state and have very comprehensive interactive session with. So it was rescheduled. But that of our on this work, you needed to be there to see what happened. And it was earth-shaking. The excitement, the joy, I'm talking facts. And it's not over. They made it clear. It was a unanimous endorsement. We are not missing words to say it. And that they didn't miss words. Because they listened to him. They talk about what he was going to do. They heard him loudly. And most of these people are industrialists and businessmen and women. And they can't wait to have a government that will understand the plight of businessmen and women, the plight of industrialists. And by the time he did his practical economic analysis, how to run an economy, you needed to see the ovation, thunderous ovation, repeated ovations. So it was a beautiful interactive session. He gave them, you know, a tip of what they are going to get. And they had known him, and they made it clear that he's a legendary Mazi who has the capacity, who has the antecedents and everything. They know all these things, and because that on this work, this thing is made of hundreds of people. I'm talking about only male, this thing were there. The women were not, the youths were not there. Only the others. Hundreds of people, the union. So they can't wait for 2023 to be here for them to cast their vote for Alex Otti. And and like I said, they are not missing words about where they are standing, who they are standing. You know, with and by the special grace of God, it went very well. And as days go by, we are going to get more of such endorsements because people have seen through the charade. Our people have seen through the propaganda. Between 2015 and now, they know everything that is happening in Abia, and they know that this is not how it should be. And the only way to write a history, the only way to change the sad narrative, the only way to restore the state to Abians is by electing someone who is not coming to pursue his stomach. It's somebody who has a blueprint of how to turn the state, to turn the economy around, to write the history of Aba. Our former Japan of Africa has all the potentials to contribute in jump-starting the economic revolution, economic prosperity in the southeast. And that was what Dr. Alexoti told them that day. Say, if you fix Aba, you would have fixed 40% of southeast or 50% of southeast. Which is true. Because if you look at Aba, you look at Newi, you look at Onitsha and all the rest of them, when you fix these places, put the necessary infrastructure in place, Aba is begging for infrastructure. Aba is begging for real governance. And we can't joke, we can't pretend. Because when time comes like this, people think it's all about politics. No. Listen to facts, statistics, point by point. For example, when Dr. Alexoti met with R&D Ezok people, he gave one economic analysis using a bottled water. He said, look at this bottled water. Because he was talking about payment of salaries and pensions and all the rest of them. He says, when you fail to pay your workers, the pensioners and all the rest of them, you are shutting down the economy. That even if you are a dishonest person, even if you are selfish, you do not want to pay your workers, you hate them, but pay them because you want the economy to survive, you want the economy to run. Because assuming I am selling this water, I bought this water from somewhere. Let's assume I bought it from the producer. The person that produced it must have maybe bought this label, must have bought the can itself. I mean, the person that produced the water must have bought the can. Somebody produced the cock. That person that produced it now sold to this wholesaler. The wholesaler sold to the retailer, and the retailer sells to the final consumer, which is me. Now, if I am a civil servant and you fail to pay me, how then do you not want me to buy water, to patronize this retailer? If I don't buy from this retailer, how do you expect the retailer to buy from the wholesaler? How do you expect the wholesaler to buy from the manufacturer? It just trickles down. So when you don't do this, you are shutting the economy. And of course, you know the final victims, the employees. Because if the manufacturer cannot sell, of course he has no reason keeping his employees. He will sack them. And the economy is shut down. So then on what basis are you now owing workers? On what basis are you now owing pensioners? It's not as if you don't have the resources to pay. So you think you are doing them, but you are shutting down the economy, and the ripple effect is being felt across board. So these were the things Alexoti told them, and these are the things he has simple economics 101. Do this, and money will circulate in the system, and people will be able. He said, we'll talk about economy is all about demand and supply. Somebody must demand now before you supply. So if there's no demand and supply, there's no economics, and the economy is dead.
Taking it really from that particular angle, let's not advertise for these people that are not paying us for advertisement.
I will ask them to come and pay you guys.
Taking it from that particular angle, but the Abia State government at the moment seems to be working hard to see how to pay off all the outstandings. They have paid the absolute doctors about 7 months some few weeks ago, which means they too are really working hard. What do you think are their challenges? Because they are clamoring that there are no sufficient funds, that the funds they have are not enough to meet all the obligations. They have to prioritize the obligation. Do you think it is completely their fault of inability to pay salaries?
One man in my place then will tell you, if you say good morning, you say what is good about your money. Sometimes when they tell you they have paid this, that you even need to go and investigate to even confirm the sincerity in what they are saying. Because we are not shying away from saying, because there is no time, they are leaving. We must tell them this bitter truth. Because this culture of dribbling our workers and patients, making fake promises, which was started in 2015, early 2016, go and look at how many committees, go and look at how many deadlines Abia State government had given you, said, by so date, 20th December, 31st December, we would have cleared the areas of this, we would have done this, we would have done this. All turned out to be fluke. And we are pained about this. So even with the claim they are making about the absolute, if you go there and investigate, you find out that it's not true.
My question, do you think that Abia State government are deliberately owing people?
Yes, it's deliberate act of wickedness. There's no justification now. When we look at how much you have received, your statutory allocation from federal government, we look at internal generated revenue, we look at loans you have collected that are staring us in the face, and we look around and find out that you're owing almost all the institutions. What justification now? Except that it's a deliberate act of wickedness. So it's either you don't know what you're doing, or you're just being, intentionally wicked. It is painful because we have every right to tell them that what they're doing is wrong because this is our state. You can't continue to behave this way. You are owing almost all the institutions. You are crippling everywhere. And you want to leave this baggage behind and leave. So what we are doing is to appeal to them to pay off these debts. All this thing that are owing our workers. You have no reason to be owing people, especially when we look at what you have gotten. You are from Isukwato local government. Let me use this as an example. I'm from Bende. My local government is the largest local government. So sometimes we receive 180 million, 170 something, 190. Let's use for example 180 million as a benchmark to do a little analysis here. Because sometimes I sit down to think through this, ask myself what is happening. We have 13 wards. We have the highest number of wards in Abia State. Go to our headquarters alone, local government headquarters alone. You will shed tears. If in a state of decay and deterioration, bushy, the environment so dirty, nothing to write home about. Now you go to each of the wards of Bende, you won't see any sign of government presence as we speak. Now, if you are getting 180 million, between January and December, you would have gotten over 2 billion. So let's say that out of these 13 wards of Bende, that these people are using, let's say, 30 million to pay salaries, which is impossible. Where is the workforce? Where are the personnel? Who are you paying? But let's say you are using 30 million to pay salaries. And you are stealing, since you people came to this life to steal, you are stealing 20 million. You still have 130 million. So if each ward of Bende receives 10 million every month, that particular ward, for example, I use my ward as an example, assuming we are receiving 10 million every month, that by the end of the day we would have gotten 120 million. Imagine where you use 20 million to put in that community, in that ward. You would have solved electricity problem to a great extent where they have. You would have graded feudal roads. You would have built water schemes and all the rest of them, if you borehole or whatever. There are a lot of problems you would have solved, even to assist people who are with grants and all the rest of them. These are the things you can use our money to do for us. Build toilets, so that some people will start going to the bush. So these are the challenges. But then go to this place, you will find that nothing is on ground. You can come to my ward, you won't see a single government presence there. That is what is obtainable. In other words, here I'm talking about local government allocation. I'm not talking about the state, the statutory allocation for the state, which the state is expected to use to develop the state. And when we talk about the state are the local governments, because there is no place that is specifically called Abia. Abia is made up of 17 local governments.
Okay.
Of 17 local governments.
Okay, Ferdinand, we're still on the program Time Out with Dr. Alex Otti, the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate for Abia State, and in the studio with me is the campaign spokesperson in the person of Mazi Ferdinand Ekeoma, and we have gone at length discussing various issues, and we are going to another issue. During that interaction with Dr. Alex Otti with the R&D Zoro people, he made some very key promises that he was going to clear all the backlog of salaries owed some of the agencies in Abia State in 1 year of him being a governor of Abia State.
It's not some all.
It's all outstandings. Is going to pay all.
P2B did it.
He's going to pay all outstandings.
It wasn't a magic.
It's not a magic?
Yes, not a magic.
How is he intended to achieve that?
The way P2B achieved it in Anambra. And good thing, these are allies, and they've been allies for years. And I'm sure you heard P2B say it in here, that Alex Otti is an astute manager.
Is he going to prioritize salary payment ahead of infrastructure? Because we have a lot of infrastructure deficit here in Abia State.
Who are the people that are meant to enjoy infrastructure? Human beings that are alive. If a pensioner dies, what are you building in infrastructure? So he will come from his grave to come and enjoy your so-called infrastructure.
But you need to also...
Now, look at it this way. That was why he didn't say if I come within 1 week, I will. He was being realistic. He was being honest. He knows how the economy works. Of course, if he becomes a governor, is the state going to be in a state of stagnation? No. You will still receive resources, allocations. You will still make money from entirely generated revenue. So how are you going to do it? First and foremost, you will need to plug all the loopholes through which the state's resources are being siphoned. If you go to Aba, not only in Aba, now here, you go to different junctions, you sit down, still collecting money, revenues, by hand. You see people holding thousands of naira, different junctions. I say, go to Aba as we speak. You will see it. These are resources that should go into state coffers, and you will now use it to develop the place. So, what Alex Otti is saying, first, he will apply absolute principle of frugality in the management of the resources. This is key. If you are honest, do away with this 1 million special assistants that don't even know the governor. Somebody will be a special assistant to the governor. He doesn't even know the governor. He doesn't know where the governor is. He's a special assistant. Army or state assistants. They have no business hanging around government house. These are people you will need to create job and get employed so that you give them sustainable employment. They will have sustainable economic means of economic survival. Not paying them 50,000, 70,000 stipends to come on social media and be abusing people. The day you live as a governor, that place is shut up. The economic fortunes are gone. So what Alex Otti will do, streamline governance, bring decency, civility, responsibility, order in governance. Block those avenues of illegal revenue activities. That's number one. Two, begin to invest in infrastructure. Because that investment in infrastructure is what will convince investors, give them the conviction that this place, yes, is what investing in. So investors will have reasons to come here. When you invest in infrastructure, they will come here and invest. Again, Alex Otti will strive to collaborate with agencies and institutions that can help Abia State jumpstart its economy, ensure that economic prosperity is restored. So it is no magic. People do take loans. What do you call it? Professor Chachukuma went for 100 billion naira loan. You think they will give him the type of loan they give to these people? Maybe they will sell 15%, then they will be extorting you. No, these people are gurus, and because they have a name, because they have reputation, these people will easily give you the loan to commence the necessary economic activities that will restore sanity in your economy, that will restore your economic prosperity. For example, Alex Otti, when he was talking at Isukwato, he made reference to all the companies that hitherto existed in Aba. PZ, John Holtz, and all the rest of them. Just Metallurgical Institute, just name all the institutions that once existed.
Some are returning now.
You understand? So he said, where are they? Which one are returning? Where are they? The international glass, international equitable glass industry.
We have these three companies that have returned.
You've come again. You've come. You want to throw the fact of this your Domino's and all the rest of it. You need to be careful.
Domino's is back.
So These are the institutions you need to bring back. And how do you bring them back? By creating, that was why he said, it is fallacious for you to say government has no business in government. He made reference to the United States of America, where agriculture is still subsidized by the government, and that is how it should be, so that you create the enabling environment for things to go well. So Alex Otti understands the challenges confronting the states. He has the strategy, he has the experience, he has the knowledge, he has the network of contacts, he has the capacity, he has the intellectual wherewithal to, frontally confront these challenges. When you talk about revenue, you don't use touts to carry out your revenue generation.
But
you use people who have the expertise.
Let me come in here. You must have to put in cognizance that recently the Abia State and Bureau for Internal Revenue have actually automated some of their revenue sources. Like all the keke people now pay via an automation platform. So that's of course an improvement.
If they are, how come a lot of people are still collecting by hand? I'm
Maybe
talking facts.
Maybe there are other revenues that have not been.
I'm talking. What other revenues? You need to synchronize this thing. You need to sanitize it. It will just be holistic, so that you get these guys off the streets. Use the money they are taking to build an institution for them to work in. There are a whole lot of things you can do. People live here, go to US, go to Canada, go to Australia, go to Japan, go to South Korea, go to different places, and do menial jobs in different factories. Why not set up such factories here for people to work? You can actually do it. You can do it, but you do not want to do it, and the guys are everywhere constituting nuisance. You need to sanitize the environment. I gave an example. I said, for example, Governor Tessie Basu is from Obingwa. Obingwa is in Abia State. So, Obingwa has arable land. Massive lands here and there, and that place is very fertile. What investment has Governor Tessie Basu made in agriculture as a means of empowering youth and women in agriculture in Obingwa, where you have land, fantastic lands. Unlike my place, it's difficult to cultivate. But here, whatever you put in Obingwa grows. I'm talking what I know. What has the governor done? What has he done to ensure you get a lot of use? We knew how that place was before he came on board. We knew the situation with kidnapping, armed robbery, and all the rest of them. And now some of these youths have been engaged. Some youths have been engaged. They paid monthly stipends. This is not sustainable. Create sustainable means of income for them, so that when you leave, the prosperity will outlive you. They will continue to enjoy. They continue to receive money, work, and get paid. But when you give them all these useless appointments as special assistants and all the rest of them, TC chairman, members, and all those things, once you leave, once your government goes, the whole thing cripples, and some of these guys will return back to what they were doing. So it is not, you are not doing, I'm not saying you should come and do it in my own place. Do it in that your own local government, because that is part of Abia. But you don't want to do it, and we will also fight, because a lot of youths have been recruited in different, as we are going to an election, and you see what they are going to bring a list of hundreds or even thousands of special assistants. They will create a different local government. They will appoint TC chairman, TC members, special assistants, and all those things. And this is the same cycle of mediocrity, the same pattern, the same strategy to win election. But after election, what happens? So we are actually appealing to these people to desist from this way. And our people, the time is now. Just like Nigeria, Abia is an endangered species, and if we fail to get it right, we will suffer terribly. This is a fact. No sentiment. No. So when we say support the best, listen to propaganda if you wish, but propaganda, we heard a lot of propaganda in 2015. We heard a lot in 2019. You can see that propaganda has not brought any result, and it will never bring you result. So you must go in your closet. Think critically. Look at the situation here at the moment. Look at the situation. Alex Otti does not need anything from you.
Okay.
And that we make vote to say it.
If I allow
it's an institution.
you talk from now till tomorrow. But then, before we start, while we start edging towards the closing down of this program today, as a close-up of this program this afternoon, let's look at, we are hearing that your people are planning, your campaign council and Dr. Alex Otti, your principal, are planning a mega rally. What shape? How is it going to be like?
In the next few days, I will be my own in the committee. In the next few days, we are going to make it public, but we are planning to carry out our flag-off rally. It's going to be massive. It's going to be we are going to send the message across to tell our people it is now or never. And it's for the good of our people. We are going to flag off our campaign. Like I said earlier, our activities are already ongoing, consultations in different local government, mobilizations, reach out, alliances. A lot of things are happening already, but then we need to make a statement. We need to do a flag off rally. We have done it in the past, to say, tell our people, chronicle what we are going to do, speak to our people, say we are taking off. Direct everybody to go to your different local governments and wards and polling units to do the needful for the good of Abia. So in the next few days, we'll make it public.
Okay, in this segment of this program today that we are winding down, what finally do you want to tell Abians?
Well, my message to the good people of Abia State is that those of us in the Labour Party, we've got fantastic brands, and we carefully selected most of our candidates, most of them. That is the truth. We have Mr. P2B Okute as our presidential candidate, who we are convinced by the special grace of God the right things are going to be done. We believe the right things are going to be done as far as the election is concerned. He will emerge the president of Nigeria, and it will mark a watershed in our history because he's the rev of the moment, and that's actually the type of person you need to take Nigeria out of the woods. Very important. P2B is a phenomenon, and we know that you all are already supporting him because he's the best deal. The best thing that has happened to this country for many decades, and we're excited about it. In Abia State, we have Dr. Otti, a close ally of P2B. Years, been allies, and that's why P2B is not losing streak. He doesn't have headache about Abia. If you call him, he will direct you to Alex. He's somebody I've known for years, and they've worked together. That's the truth. It's a fact. That's verifiable. So when P2B comes here, he will talk. He close his eyes and talk about Alex Otti. P2B is not good at pouring a comment on people. He doesn't know. He's very careful what he says. So when you see him in different fora, in fact, when they were talking about him, we are lying against him that he didn't leave any money in Anambra, we will say, go and ask Alex Otti. That's what P2B will tell you. But Alex Otti was there. He mentioned the right people, but the person he has always mentioned is Alex Otti. Alex Otti, Alex Otti. So he knows his Alex Otti's pedigree, and we also know his pedigree. So in Abia here, you have the best choice. The best choice is Alex Otti. That's the truth. This is undisputed. Forget the propaganda, forget fabrication, forget lies, forget what anybody might want to twist. Yes, because the threat he poses, so they have spent enough resources, years, blackmailing him, painting him black, saying things that don't exist. So don't fall prey to them. Support Alex Otti. We've got senatorial candidates across board, House of Reps members, House of Assembly. Support these people to win the election. Let us herald a new dawn in Abia for the good of our people, for the good of our state. Abia is God's own state. It shouldn't be by only nomenclature now. We should, in reality, the facts on ground should speak eloquently that we indeed we are God's own people.
Yes.
So, as time goes on, we'll be analyzing the whole thing here, and we are convinced that as days pass by, our people will have every reason to overwhelmingly support Alex Otti for governor. Thank you, and God bless you.
Yes, this is, just like we say, this is a time out with Dr. Alex Otti, the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate. We are calling on other campaign councils, all of them, without calling their names, to come and have a program. Let's discuss your ideas too. Just like the spokesperson of Dr. Alex Otti is giving us bit by bit, we want other campaign councils to come up and here, come to us. Let's also be able to interact with you. 2023 election is very critical for our people in Abia State, and I know that every Abian is ready, is willing to have a greater Abia from 2023 forward, and these people are already coming up and showcasing themselves. So we want every other person to come and showcase themselves and talk with you. This program remains Time Out, a special interactive program called Time Out with Dr. Alex Otti, and my name remains Emeniki Rebu, the anchor of this show. Thank you, and God bless. Please remember to share this content so that every other person can watch and also enjoy it. Have a wonderful day.